Hey YouTube, Skijaramaz here. Just a little heads up about this video before you go into it. It's basically just being read directly off of the Patreon page that I'm reading it from. So, yeah, if you go look at the Patreon page, it's pretty much just going to be a read-along. So, I just figured I'd let you know about that ahead of time. Hello, listeners. As you no doubt have surmised from the title of this video, I am gradually approaching the end of Spark Visions of Twilight. From where I'm at right now, there are only 6 chapters left to record, including the epilogue, meaning it will take me only 3 more weeks to finish off the story if all goes well. As a result, I'm starting to look again for stories to fill in the Thursday to Friday reading slot, and I figured I would put it to a vote. There are 2 main options. You see, for those of you who recall, I wrote the story that initially filled the Thursday and Friday reading slot when I first started this Patreon, which was The Bug in the Herd. It occurs to me that it may be prudent to simply make that slot the one where my own works go. Now with that in mind, I have 2 stories, 4 technically, but one of them constitutes as a trilogy of stories that I'm considering. First and foremost is Little Glimpses. Let me read off the description for you. Twilight Sparkle's wildest dreams have just been met and exceeded. Due to an unexpected magical outburst during her entrance exam to Princess Celestia's school for gifted unicorns, the Solar Princess herself took an interest and took Twilight on as her personal student. This was a pleasant shock for Twilight and her family. However, a few months later, a less pleasant shock would reach Twilight in the form of Celestia returning to Canterlot with a new daughter, a freshly adopted Pegasus filly named Rainbow Dash. As the two get to know each other, Twilight can clearly see that something is eating at the self-absorbed and competitive filly's mind. And to make matters even more confusing, Princess Celestia is now hiding something. Twilight dares not question it, but it is quite clear that Celestia isn't being wholly open with any pony about her decision to adopt some random orphan. Could the answers have something to do with the cryptic dream Twilight had the night before she met Rainbow Dash? As you can tell from that description, Little Glimpses is an alternate universe story in which something caused a change in the timeline. A small change, with enormous and far-reaching results. The story is at present in the final stretches of being written and will be complete within the 3 weeks that are left on Spark Visions, most likely. It will be at about 40 chapters in length, which means it will take about 20 weeks to go through it all at my normal pace on this channel and Patreon page. That's about 5 months of stuff. It is an E-rated story that aims to be like the show if it were more willing to openly tackle serious subjects like being an orphan and prolonged periods of grieving. It has elements of slice of life, drama, and mystery, with the last arc of the story shifting more into an adventure to tie things up. In summary, Little Glimpses is an alternate universe. Something changed the timeline. Rainbow Dash is orphaned and is adopted by Celestia. Twilight and Rainbow grow up almost like sisters as a result. A lot of the story is a slice of life with drama and mystery elements. The narrative takes place over about 7 years, roughly. The last act of the story is an adventure, and the story aims to be similar to the show in many ways. So that's option 1. Then there's the second option, which is significantly grittier. The Mare That Eats the Monsters. The story of the Mare That Eats the Monsters is an old but still very well known equestrian campfire and bedtime story, often told to scare little fillies and colts into behaving themselves, but at the same time giving them comfort as long as they behave. It tells of a mare who loves Equestria and the ponies who live in it despite how frighteningly different she is. She protects ponies across Equestria from nightmarish creatures and terrifying monsters, called fiends, that would seek to kill and devour ponies wherever possible. What most ponies don't realize, but what Twilight Sparkle is soon to learn, is that the mare of the story was and is very real, and the stakes of her mission have never been higher. So The Mare That Eats the Monsters is a dark, action-adventure story with heavy horror elements. It is also the first story in a trilogy entitled The Fiends Trilogy, in reference to the main antagonistic force in the plot. The story is rated T due to gore, violence, dark themes, and some pretty tragic moments, as well as a deep and intricately woven web of characters. A lot of my inspiration for this story came from the basic notes of the anime Blood Sea, mainly that one of the main characters is a monster that hunts, kills, and eats other monsters. The first story in this trilogy clocks in at about 17 chapters in length, if one includes the prologue and epilogue, with a completed sequel ready to follow up and a third and final story to cap off the trilogy in the works. In total, the first two stories come up to 39 chapters if we include the prologues and epilogues, and the third story will probably be around 20 to 25 chapters all on its own, meaning that you'll get just as much if not more content than with Little Glimpses. But mainly it boils down to which ones you all want to see. I'm gonna go ahead and put a straw poll link in the description of this video to get everyone's vote on this. I'll check on it once I have completed Spark Visions and go with whatever has the higher vote count. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.